Tommy, I thought we would talk fiber cement siding, because this is clearly a material that is here to stay.
Oh, yeah.
It is on about 15% of new homes, and it's actually used quite a bit in renovations as well.
Yeah, I've used it on a few of my jobs, and I like it.
And there's a couple reasons to like it, actually, and one of them is cost.
Right. It's about 30 to 40% less than a wood siding, like cedar or redwood, for example. And it's hard, so it won't dent like wood siding. Comes in different textures. There's one here that simulates a wood grain, and here's one that's really flat.
And in the durability category, the paint job is pretty impressive too.
Yeah, well, first of all, when you buy it, it comes primed. If you want it painted, they offer about 12 different colors, and when they paint it in the factory, they actually heat the siding and they spray the paint on that warm siding. It actually adheres better. 2 coats. And it gives you a 10 to a 20-year warranty, so that's good.
That's pretty impressive for a paint job.
Right, but there's still touch-up work that's going to be needed in the field. So if you make a cut along the way, you're going to have to touch up that joint. They'll send you some paint that will match.
So those are some of the benefits. I guess the biggest downside is working with it, because this can kick up a ton of dust.
A lot of dust. I think that is probably one of the biggest. Now, you can cut it with a conventional saw like this right here. But you want to use a special blade. You notice there's very few teeth, unlike the one that you'd use when cutting wood.
And the purpose behind that is less teeth is going to try to kick up less dust, but it still kicks up a lot of dust.
It's going to kick up some dust. Let me show you. Put on your mask there. Now I'll just follow with my straight edge and get ready for this.
So quite a bit of dust, and not the kind of stuff you want to be breathing in.
Right.
And so to counteract that problem, the solution has been a whole host of specialty tools, different ways that you can actually cut the fiber cement.
Here's actually a shear that will cut the siding in through this little slot. So
this is an attachment just put on a regular screw gun?
Goes right on a drill. Turn it on. You don't have any dust. Cuts right along.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Takes a little longer, but you don't have any dust.
Right, exactly. Now, there's one thing that you really wanted to show me that I have not yet seen.
Well, they have saws now with dust collection, all right? Here's one here, and there's actually this little attachment comes down, brings it tighter to the material, and it brings the sawdust right into the bag. And here's a new one that I tried the other day.
So these are saws specifically made for cutting fiber cement.
Right. Straight edge on it. Now let's see what the difference in dust is.
Almost dustless.
Almost. It makes a big difference if you're doing a whole house or an addition. You don't have all that dust flying around.
So let's talk about how this is working, because it's actually not a vacuum. It starts with a 5-gallon bucket that you've got right here, and then you put this hood on it.
Right, and what they have is a worm drive saw right here. There's a gear in here that turns the blade with a worm gear. But on the back of the saw, they've applied a little fan. When the saw is on, it turns this fan right here, and it sucks the dust in through the hose and into the bucket. That's
going to be pretty handy, especially if you're up on the second floor working off a scaffolding and such. All right, so that's cutting. Let's talk about installation.
Okay, well, it installs a lot like wood, but there are a few different changes. When you're installing the siding, you want to make sure that there's a seam or a joint open so that you can install caulking into this joint. I like to back caulk first and then apply another bead of caulking afterwards to really make that a watertight joint.
And that's to allow for expansion and contraction.
Expansion and contraction of the siding and the trim. And you want to make sure you use your splines at all the joints. You want to make sure that the spline sits on top of the previous piece that you're putting so that if water should migrate into this joint, it will run out.
I gotcha.
Again, you want to make sure you back caulk it.
Okay, so let's install one piece. I know we've got one cut.
Now, I'm not going to back caulk this piece because obviously this is only a pretend wall.
Right, but if we were going to do this for real, you would put a bead of caulk right here.
First.
And you would also put a bead of caulk over on this end.
That's right.
Okay.
Now, if I nail this, I'm going to use this hot dip galvanized nail. I'm going to nail it into the stud. I want to drive the nail in right flush. I don't want to penetrate that surface. And if you're going to use a nail gun, then you can use these stainless ring shank nails.
Boy, and that gun speeds up the process.
The beauty of that gun is you can actually set the depth of it or control the depth of the nail so you don't damage the siding.
All right, well, a pretty good alternative to real wood siding. You can see why so many people want to use it.
I agree.